I want to share a really interesting story with you as a pet sitter about what happens when you have a client that can't afford to pay their pet sitting fees at the end of the pet sit. So I was approached to look after these two dogs. It was a referral from a friend. The client was going overseas to Europe. It was quite a long pet stay. It was a 4-week pet stay. She offered to pay half up front or half up at the end, and I said to her, look, it's up to you what's going to work for you. And then she started talking about someone owed her money and she'd have $1,500 next week, and I started to think, oh, this isn't really good. There was a few red flags. So what we agreed on was that she was going to make payments every couple of weeks when she got her pay from her job come in, which I was happy to do that. So she went off to Europe and I had the first payment come in on time. Then I had the second payment come in on time, then the third payment. And then the payments started to drop off. They became less frequent until they stopped. I wasn't worried though, because I had her dogs, and for her to get her dogs back, she was going to have to pay me. Anyway, while she was overseas, I lost contact with her, which was a little bit concerning for me because most owners go out of their way to find out how their dogs are doing. This lady sort of went off the radar and I was a bit worried. I thought, has something happened to her overseas? Where is she? Is everything okay? Anyway, I continued on as normal. I was looking after her dogs. I was sending videos to her WhatsApp, and I thought, well, maybe no news is good news. Anyway, she did eventually get in contact with me, and she said that her phone had been stolen overseas and this had affected her ability to make payments, and she was coming back and she was going to pick up her dogs. And I said to her, that's great. This is the balance that you owe me. And at this point, there was no indication from her that she wasn't able to pay me. I think by now she had paid me about just under half of what she owed me. It was quite a large amount of money though for this pet sit. It was in the range of, I think, $4,000 to $4,500. So it's not really something that you can let go at that amount of money. She arrived back in Australia and she called me and she said, you know, I'd like to come pick up my dogs. And I said, that's fine. I sent her the amount that was owing. And at this point, I was starting to feel a little bit nervous because I was thinking, you know, she hasn't been making her regular payments. I wasn't feeling very confident about the situation. Sure enough, she did call me on the phone and she said, I'm really sorry, but I don't have the money to pay you for the balance you owe me for the pet sit. And I think it was about $2,500 that she owed me. And I stopped and thought about it, and I thought, well, you never know what someone's situation is or what they're going through. But from my end, all I knew was that she had a regular job, a good job, and she'd gone over to Europe for this amazing holiday. So I thought, really, she should hopefully be able to pay her pet sitting fees. And I said to her, because I didn't want to embarrass her, and I said to her, look, this is fine. This happens quite a lot where people don't pay their pet sitting fees. I wanted to help her save face. And I said to her, when you can pay me the money when you can. So when you next get paid from your job, or when this person that owes you money has the money, then you can pay me what you owe me. And she said, oh, that's great. Thank you so much. She said, can I come and pick up my dogs? And I said, no. And I said that because I knew that once I gave her dogs back and she owed me a lot of money, there's a chance that I might never see her again. So I said to her, look, I'm going to keep your dogs. The pet sit continues on. And when you have the money to pay me, you can pay me and then you can come and collect your dogs. And she wasn't really expecting this. She was a little bit flustered by it. And she said to me, she goes, are you going to continue charging me for pet sitting? And I said, yes, I am. I'm still looking after your dogs. I'm going to reduce the fee though by $10 a day. And I can keep looking after them for up to another month. And that gives you some time to get some money together. Anyway, so it was a little bit stressful for me because I understood that it was upsetting for her. She wanted her dogs back. But I had to stand my ground because she had signed up for a service with me as a pet sitter, and I had provided the service, and I did expect to get paid for that service, and I'd done a very good service looking after her dogs. Anyway, the week one went by, week two went by. Every now and then she would check in, how the dog's going, great. I didn't put any pressure on her. All I knew was that she was going to get her dogs back when she paid me. And worst case scenario, maybe I was going to have to end up keeping her dogs long term. I don't know. But I did speak to my friend, and my friend did say to me she does love her dogs a lot. She'll want her dogs back. So I knew that she was probably over on the other side working out how to get the money together to pay for her pet care fees. Anyway, one day she did contact me. I think it was 3 weeks later. I think by now I'd had her dogs for about 7 or 8 weeks. So it was quite a long time. She said, I've got the money, I'd like to come and pick up my dogs. So I did make sure when she came that she had paid me all her outstanding money, and then I handed the dogs over to her. So one of the things I did learn from this situation is if you have a client that has some financial difficulties, whatever they might be, you've got to be in a position to work with them, and you've got to almost be in a position to retain those pets and hold them back until they pay those fees. I think the best way to avoid this ideally is all your pet clients pay you up front. I've never really asked my clients to do that so far. I've always trusted that they will pay me, whether by installments or at the end of the pet sit prior to collecting their dog. So this was the first time that this has happened to me, and it was quite a stressful event, but it did work out well in the end. She did contact me at a later date asking if I would look after the dogs again. I think my response was yes, but you'll need to pay me up front. So that's what I learned out of that one.